Bricks on bricks, gradually we make bridges. Bridges link streets together, the way we are supposed to live. But now, the bridges are too long to cause separation, making the streets so strict for the less privileges. Streets by streets, the world is formed. And there are children in every city who have no one to care for them. There are children whose mattresses are the cardboards under the bridge. There are children whose clothes dare not compete with your rags, and you dare not compete with those children in a fasting competition. Because they do not know how 3 square meal tastes. Even the water they drink is the kind you don't want to flush your toilet with. It might just contaminate your white closet. They used to be minors until circumstances circumcised them to grow old so fast and stand to responsibility they are too young to be responsible for. According to UNICEF, 22,000 children die each day due to poverty. Many die quietly in some corners of the earth, far from the consciousness of the world. Even 27 to 28% of children in developing countries are estimated to be underweight and stunted. They are not minorities. They are the integral parts of our lives. After all, no one wishes to have a less of privilege. But the globe rolls in different phases, and it happens to whoever, wherever it feels like happening. Many were in their comfort zones when it happened. Many were born there, while loss of family led some. Everyone lives with wishes, and the stray children are not exempted too. They go about carrying a pot of dreams with an empty belly. All they need is the helping hands of someone who can listen, care, and spell them a better tomorrow.
Orúkọ mi ni Wàsíù Olúwafẹ́ràn, mi 16 years old, mo rẹ̀ wá láti ìlú Ìsẹ́yìn. Mi ṣe alápàdé DSK ni wípé gbogbo ìgbà tí mo fi sáńlé tí mo máa ń ṣàpárí káàkiri, tí mo máa ń lọ ṣàpárí láàrin ìjà, ìyá kan dẹ̀ wà láàrin ìjà, òun ló bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ pé ṣé mo lè kọ́ṣẹ́. Wọ́n bá mi pe àwọn DSK tó jẹ́ ọ̀gá wọn, wọ́n ní àwọn ti rí ọmọ kan. Ọ̀gá wọn dẹ̀ sọ fún wa wípé wọ́n sọ fún wọn pé àwọn máa rán èèyàn méjì kan wá. Èmi ò dẹ̀ dáhùn èèyàn yẹn mọ̀. Bọ́n ṣe rán àwọn èèyàn méjì yẹn wá, èmi ò dáhùn. Wọ́n ní pé ṣé mo máa ń jókòó sábẹ́ bridge. Mo ní bẹ́ẹ̀ pé mo máa ń jókòó síbẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ nìkan dẹ̀ lè ṣe náà mi síbẹ̀ nígbà tí màá rí àwọn ẹni yẹn mi dáhùn. Nígbà tí màá fi padà dé, wọ́n ti lọ. Màá lọ báyà yẹn láàrin ìjà padà pé àwọn ẹni tẹ́ ń sọ yìí ti lọ, mi dé dáhùn mọ́. Wọ́n wá bá mi pe wọ́n padà. Wọ́n wá sọ pé àwọn ti lọ, pé ó ti dijọ́ báyìí nìyẹn pé ṣé mo máa lọ sí meeting jọ Sunday. Mo ní bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n wá sọ fún àwọn ọ̀gá wa pé àwọn need àwọn ọmọ tí wọ́n lè kọ́ṣẹ́. Nígbà tó wá dijọ́ Sunday yẹn tí mo lọ sí meeting, wọ́n wá pé wá jáde pé àwọn àwo la fẹ́ kọ́ṣẹ́. Mo dẹ̀ jáde pé mo fẹ́ kọ́ṣẹ́. Mi ò ṣe ti jáde. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ní pé ṣé mi ni ìyá àárín ọjà ń sọ. Mo ní bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé mi. Wọ́n wá ní pé kí ló dé tí mi ò fi pe àwọn join mọ́ àní mi dá yín mọ̀ ni. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ní pé ṣé mo lè kọ́ṣẹ́. Mo ní mo lè kọ́ṣẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ mo dẹ̀ lè kàwé. Àtìgbà yẹn mo lè ṣe alápàdé wọn.
Orúkọ mi ni Bọ́lá Ọ̀pẹ̀jì. Mo jẹ́ ọmọ 15 years. Mo kọ́ṣẹ́ ní ṣòkò ní abẹ́ ọ̀gá mi tó wà ní ìgbésí ní òkè Paris. Nínú ìlú máa wà. Wọ́n lè máa sọ fún mi pé àwọn ọmọ máa wá, wọ́n máa fún àwọn ọmọ ìjọ fún àwọn ìjọ. Mi ò mọ̀ wọ́n tẹ́lẹ̀, ọmọ kan tàbí wà ó wá ní wọ́n fẹ́ wá sí ọdún wá ṣe pàtì lórí. Ọmọ ìlú náà mo wá tẹ̀lé pàṣẹ àti tẹ̀lé láti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Wọ́n lè gbé ìyá mi pé ṣé mo lè fi ṣe mi lọ. Wọ́n lè rìn pé irúṣẹ́ ò ìrọ̀rùn pé bá wà. Lẹ́yìn àkànṣe sí ibi táwọn sùn sí ìgbà gbogbo. Wọ́n ṣe dé mi. Wọ́n wá ní pé ìjọ kan náà ti kọ́kọ́ dé mú wa lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ tí ibi tó ń mú wa lọ yẹn á ní pé àfẹ́rẹ́. wọ́n wá ní wa ní sùúrù ìjọ fún wa wá àwọn ṣe ní wa wá sí ìgbà ọlọ́gbà wọn sọ̀rọ̀ wọ́n lẹ́yìn pé a lè sọ fún ọjọ́ wọn gbé pẹ̀lú àti pẹ̀lú wọn gbálé fún wọn wọ́n máa ń raṣọ fún wọn wọ́n máa ń gbóúnjẹ wá ní oṣooṣù àwọn àti ọlọ́run ni wọ́n ṣe ìbí lórí ìgbà tí mo fi sá kúrò nínú èrò pé mo ti pàdé mu wọn.
Gbogbo ipa tó ti kó ní ayé mi kò ṣe kékeré torí pé tí n bá ṣì wà tó bá yẹ pé mi dá wọn lóhùn ni màá ṣì wà mí tí mo sì máa ṣapá ní mi tó jẹ́ pé màá ti rọ́ọ̀fù gan àmọ́ sì wọ́n ti fi oúnjẹ ọjọ́ ọ̀la sí mi lọ́wọ́ iṣẹ́ mò ń kọ́ ẹ̀ ibẹ̀ yẹn gan ó ti fẹ́ yọ lẹ́mìí mi tó jẹ́ pé ibẹ̀ yẹn kò máa wù mí lọ mọ́ àti gbogbo ìgbà yẹn wọ́n ti ṣe nǹkan gidi nínú ayé mi tó jẹ́ iṣẹ́ lélẹ̀ ilé ló tún wà ń bẹ̀ jẹ́ pé mo máa sọ nílé gbogbo nǹkan tó ti kó nínú ayé mi ó pọ̀ gan.
The street feels nothing like home. Insecurity has become a major threat to the welfare of the less privileged. An average child living on the streets escaped bullets more times than he escaped nightmares. And this makes them run from anything, including the ones targeted at helping them, like immunization.
Ọjọ́ tí mo pàdé wọn, ọjọ́ yẹn bọ́jẹ́ ń bọ̀ gan mo rò pé àwọn alábẹ́rẹ́ àjẹsára ni. Ìgbà tí mo kọ́kọ́ rí wọn mo yá dànù. But later ìgbà tí mo wá gbọ́ pé àwọn tó máa help èèyàn ni mo wá súnmọ́ wọn. Orúkọ mi ni Ayọ̀mídé Mákínwùmí, mo dẹ̀ ti tó ọmọ 18 years. Ojú mi ṣe rí gan-an. Lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ abẹ́ bíríìjì mo máa ń sùn bọ̀ IDP tí mo máa ń sùn yẹn kò sí fọkànbalẹ̀ rárá. Bí kò dalẹ̀ ká gbáriwo àwọn ọlọ́pàá kan máa lé wa tàbí àwọn bọ́ìsì yẹn kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní jà. Ìyẹn lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì ká tó jẹun láàárọ̀ gan-an a máa ṣiṣẹ́ iṣẹ́ ìgbà mi oúnjẹ àárọ̀ kò ní bá tọ̀sán mu ìgbà mi oúnjẹ ọ̀sán gan kò ní bá talẹ́ mu. Ìyẹn ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹta nílá fi wá àṣẹ ní àwọn ẹlẹ́gbọ̀n tó pọ̀ gan-an ìgbà mi tá a bá ṣiṣẹ́ báyìí owó tó yẹ ká fi jẹun ọlẹ́nu ká máa bọ̀ tó bá tún gbà tó hàn tún ní ká máa lọ ọ tún máa mú wa máa nà wá ìgbà mi tó bá ná wà a máa lọ bá wọn fọṣọ àwọn ìyá sára níyàn máa jẹ káàkiri. Ìgbà tí mo kọ́kọ́ rí wọn mo yá dànù but later ìgbà tí wọ́n á gbọ́ pé àwọn tó máa help èèyàn ni wọ́n á súnmọ́ wọn. Mo lè bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ ibi iṣẹ́ wọn lè sọ pé irú iṣẹ́ mo fẹ́ kọ́ mo lè gbé iṣẹ́ bábí sálù mo fẹ́ kọ́ ẹlẹ́nu pé ṣe mo máa dúró síbẹ̀ rárá pé ṣe mo máa gbórí dúró mo dẹ̀ ní pé kò sí wàhálà pé tó bá ti lè fi mí síbẹ̀ pé mo promise wọn mo yẹ mọ̀ wọ́n nìyẹn.
Nígbà tó kọ́ GSK tó kó ọmọ wá sí ṣọ́ọ̀bù mi ọjọ́ tó kọ́kọ́ wá ní pé kọ́ fẹ́ kọ́ṣẹ́ nípa ṣọ́ọ̀bù pé ọmọ aláìníyà àbí kọ́kọ́ já gbà tí lórí jọ ọmọ yẹn lójú ọmọ yẹn ṣe rí pé ṣé ọmọ ilé iṣẹ́ wọn lè dáhùn sí mi lẹ́wọ̀n wọ́n dẹ̀ fọkàn mi balẹ̀ pé kò sí nǹkan tó máa ṣe ọmọ yẹn. Bàtí máa bí kọ́sọ̀ lọ́wọ́ ọmọ mi lé gan pé ìgbà ọlọ́mọ ẹ̀ ti sá kùn lé ọjọ́ kan máa ní pé ọdún méje ọmọ ẹ̀ ti sá kùn nílé tí kò níyà tí àwọn ọmọ tí ìyá ọmọ tí bàbá ẹ wà. Mo bi lọ́wọ́ ẹni kejì pé ìbáwo lè yé tó fi sá kùn lé ó ní ọdún mẹ́ta lòun ti sá kùn dà pẹ̀lú mi lórúkọ yẹn jẹ fẹ́ràn mi yẹn mo bi lọ́wọ́ yẹn mo ti pé yẹn ó dà pé bàbá ẹ̀ ti kú àwọn ọmọ mi wà take care púpọ̀ ìyẹn náà kọ́ sá kùn lé mi àwọn mẹ́ta jọ ọmọ tí mi mọ̀ pé wọ́n lè gbọ́n wọn bọ̀ yìí fẹ́ gbọ́n wọn yẹn tó yí bàtọ̀ kú wọn bẹ̀yẹn mo rò pé tí wọ́n mọ báyìí sọ lè ṣe nǹkan báyìí tó bá yẹ pé wà á rí wọn tó yẹ pé wọ́n lè máa ran ọmọ aláìníyà lọ́wọ́ inú wo bá dùn mo lè gbé owó iṣẹ́ mi lọ́rùn ọ̀tẹ̀ jẹ́ mi lówó gan fowó tẹ́ mi lọ́rùn dáadáa bàtọ́ mẹ́rin kọ́kọ́ débí báyìí wọ́n débí báyìí ní 2020 that was 2 years báyìí lọ́ọ́ ti dé ibi báyìí bàtọ́ débí báyìí ní 2020 yẹn ọjọ́ kan tó yẹ pé bàtọ́ kọ́kọ́ débí wọ́n máa ń dọ̀tí ṣe gbogbo nǹkan mo complete mi ò lè complain fún wọn but tí bá ti complain fún wọn GSP inú mi máa ń dùn kò sí complaint mo complain fún wọn wọ́n máa bá mi ṣe correction sí bàtọ́ kọ́kọ́ débí by time yẹn ní short story yẹn bí ẹni ibi tó ti kọ́ wa lọ ń gbé tẹ́lẹ̀ wọn gbálé fún wọn nígbà táwọn pé gbogbo Abẹ́òkúta wọn pa àwọn káàkiri ọmọ kékeré nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ òun ni pé mo ní kó gbálé fún wọn ọdẹ bá mi gbálé fún wọn mo tún rò pé ọmọ yìí rán ọbẹ̀ fojú ṣiṣẹ́ dáadáa ní pé ẹ má bá mi ra oúnjẹ fún wọn lóṣooṣù tó bá ń oúnjẹ jẹ inú wọn lè máa dùn láti fi kọ́ṣẹ́ wọ́n tún bá mi gbóúnjẹ wọn fún wọn ní oṣooṣù lọ́ máa ń fún wọn ní owó oúnjẹ èmi ọ̀gá gan tí bá ní fẹ́ gbà kan wọ́n máa fún mi inú mi dùn pẹ̀lú iléeṣẹ́ GSK ẹni tó dá iléeṣẹ́ ńlẹ̀ kò ní kú lágbọ́n ọba iléeṣẹ́ ńlẹ̀ máa lọ síwájú o.
Society doesn't harm men. Men harm men. It is virtue to stop abusing the street children. It is virtue to give them the right treatment they deserve.
As a social worker, my experience on the field, there are many experiences, but I'll mention few, like the likes of unhygienic vicinity of the street connected children. You know, the situation whereby you don't have to cover your nose, on gloves and others, and it has been a very difficult task at the beginning, but as time goes on, adapting. So I'll mention the case study of Olani Yorofiyat, a female street connected child who was found on a particular day, and she was introduced to me by one of the street connected child that we do interactive section with, and they know more of us. They know we can help the child, so she was being introduced to me, and we brought her to the organization. She was being catered for rescue, reintegrated, and we took her case to the JWC section at Lafenwa police station for reintegration.
Ọjọ́ tí mo kúrò ní ilé tí mo dé sí Láfẹnwá, ọjọ́ kejì ni mo pàdé GSK. Wọ́n rí mi, wọ́n béèrè nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ tí mo fi sá kúrò ní ilé. Mo dẹ̀ ṣe àlàyé fún wọn. Wọ́n dẹ̀ pe ọ̀gá, wọ́n bá ga sọ̀rọ̀, lọ̀gá fi ní kọ́kọ́ máa mú mi bọ̀. Nígbà tó ń dẹ̀ mú mi, wọn ò fìyà jẹ mí. Kò sí wípé happiness ni mi rí nílé, kò sí pé mi rí lọ́dọ̀ wọn, ká ní mi rí lọ́dọ̀ wọn, ó bọ́ sí mo kì í kúrò ní ọ̀dọ̀ tiwọn náà. Mo rí happiness, mo wà happy. Nígbà tó mú mi dé ọ́fíìsì, wọ́n fún mi lóúnjẹ, mo jẹun, mo happy, wọ́n ní kí n free, wọ́n gbé laptop fún mi, mo ń tẹ̀, wọ́n fọwọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ní tẹ̀ ọkàn mi, mo wo fíìmù.
After all, she was being enrolled into a vocational training of her own choice, which is fashion design. She is there now and she has been doing very well.
Wọ́n béèrè pé kí ni mo fẹ́ ṣe, wọ́n ní mo fẹ́ kọ́ ṣe ọwọ́, wọ́n ní irúṣẹ́ ọwọ́, mo ní fashion design. Wọ́n dẹ̀ mú wa síbẹ̀, ibẹ̀ náà dẹ̀ mú wa báyìí.
Rọ́fíàt, èmi ò mọ̀ rí tẹ́lẹ̀. Ìjọ orin náà lọ́hùn, èmi ò sí lọ́kàn pé mi pé wọ́n mú ọmọ kan bọ̀ pé mi ò rí rí. Wọ́n dẹ̀ mú wa síbí báyìí. Ìdẹ̀gbà lọ́wọ́ wọn tó tẹ̀sí.
We all need somebody to lean on, and a child brought out of the gutter is a glory-giving chance to shine.
Adéyanjú méjì lórúkọ mi, tí ọmọ ilé yẹn kò sí ìyàjọ ara fún mi àmọ́ mo sì ní ìfàmì. Nígbà tí wọ́n kọ́ dé inú àdúgbò kan bíi ghetto ẹnu wọ́n ti wá aṣàpọ̀ wọ́n bá a sọ̀rọ̀ pé aláàánú ni wọ́n pé wọ́n lè máa fìyàn sí ẹnu iṣẹ́ o. Àgọ́rò bá wẹ́fì àgọ́ nínú àwọn tó ń kọ́ ọmọ tó ń ṣe àṣà àdá wọn ló ń gbà ẹ́. Kọ̀ọ̀kan wọn ṣe wá dé bá a sọ̀rọ̀ pé àwọn kì í ṣe àwọn tó kó ọmọ o, pé àwọn tó máa ń ṣàánú ni wọ́n o. Àṣà wọn yẹ kó wọn jọ nìyẹn, àwa pé bíi 5 wọn kó wa wá sí ìlú yìí. Ìgbọ̀nù orí dúró náà ní gbogbo wọn. Àwọn tó kù wọn kó wọn bí wọ́n ti lọ. Àwọn mo jẹ́ àṣeyọkọ́ṣẹ́ rẹ̀ wọ́n fún mi nìkan tó bá tọ́ sí mi. Mo ṣáà ń dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ọ̀gá náà, ọwọ́ náà máa rò lágbára náà.
Orúkọ mi ni Afọláyàn Lawrence, ọ̀gá bírèkù mo jẹ́, mechanic and generator mechanic. A ti tó bí ọdún mẹ́ta tó ti wà ní báyìí. Àwọn company JSK ló mú wá sí báyìí. So wọ́n mú wá pé ká máa bá wọn tọ́jú ẹ̀, ká máa kọ́ níṣẹ́ tó kó lè fojú sí. Wọ́n try lórí ọmọ ẹ̀ ládìgbà tó ti mú wá, wọ́n wò ó ní time to time. Wọ́n fún lóúnjẹ, wọ́n dẹ̀ fún lówó, wọ́n ra aṣọ fún, wọ́n ra irinṣẹ́ fún, wọ́n ra gbogbo nǹkan fún ẹ̀kan tó ń fẹ́, so wọ́n ṣe é fún, so wọ́n jẹ́ kí ìyà jẹ. Òun náà ò dẹ̀ dojú tì wọ́n náà, ó dúró, ó jẹ́ kí iṣẹ́ wọn yọ.
Many children are on the streets today because help didn't show up when they needed it in a way or the other. So they hit the streets in search of hands to hug and ears to listen to their heart cries and stories to tell.
Tí bá sọ padà ti kónú ayé mi ó pọ̀ lọ fà because ó ti ṣe tán but tó bá tún ṣe tán mi máa dùn gan àwọn gan dẹ̀ ọ máa gbà pé àwọn ní ọmọ kan pé lẹ́kàn ló kọ ọmọ ìjẹ́ ó dẹ̀ ṣe dáadáa sí àwọn.
This is not only about them. This is about you. This is about me. This is about us. Imagine a better atmosphere for these children. Imagine what we do that send them to the streets.
Yes, due to the hard economic situation, we have a lot of street children springing up every day. Some of them are involved in drugs, and because of the situation of the country that's affected families and which has led to high rates of poverty, you see some of these children not going to school, you see some of them hawking on the streets, and eventually you see some of them dropping out of schools and involving in drugs, alcoholism, and other form of vices that poses a threat to the society.
It's either upbringing or you find parental fault.
Tèmi rí pa tí mo lè sọ nú ẹ̀ ní wípé ìkíní àwọn ọmọ tẹ́ ń wò yẹn ọmọ mi wà nínú wọn tó jẹ́ pé agbára òbí wọn ó pọ̀ láti gbé bùkátà lórí wọn.
Ọmọ mi náà kẹ̀rì kò sí bó ṣe máa tọ́ tán bó ṣe lè tọ́ tó náà tó bá ti jẹ́ ọmọ tó jẹ́ pé ó burú lọ́wọ́ ara ẹ̀.
Ẹ̀pọ̀ ló wá ti ń bá àwọn tó jẹ́ gáǹgì tó dàbí pé o ti rí ọmọ yìí o àwọn tó ń bá rìn ó ti ju sẹ́ẹ̀tì ẹ̀ lọ.
Ohun tó kọ́mọ̀ jù pé ọmọ máa ń sálẹ̀ ni pé ìpínyà òbí ni mo rí tó fàájì.
If hope wasn't free, most of these kids wouldn't have had nothing to hold on. But now, they do. Because their hope is in you, and your kindness rings for life. Let's think about fixing the problems that send these children out on streets. Perhaps the groups they have been exposed to will influence them to read and not to read. Perhaps they will wake up with dreams to chase and not being pursued by the nightmares under the bridge.
Sherry, kò sí bá ṣe máa wà tá à ní jà. Ó yẹ kí àwọn òbí kan sapá tó bá tiẹ̀ máa jẹ́ pé wọ́n máa jà ní kán máa make sure pé àwọn nǹkan yìí kò ní jẹ́ lójú àwọn ọmọ wọn because àwọn ọmọ yìí náà àwòkọ́ṣe làwọn òbí jẹ́ fún àwọn ọmọ. Nǹkan tí wọ́n ṣe nísìnyí wọ́n lè rò pé normal thing ni àwọn ọmọ yẹn ń wò wọ́n dẹ̀ fi ń ṣe àríkọ́ṣe.
Kí ìjọba kó máa mójútó àwọn ọmọ yẹn náà tó bá ti ń kó wọn kó máa béèrè ilé wọn.
Tíjọba bá lè ràn wá lọ́wọ́ tó bá láwọn tó bá sáńlé tó bá wà pàkíyèsí wọn kán pè wọ́n sí nǹkan tó bá ṣe tí ò dáa kí wọ́n bá wọn tó bá rọmọ tó sáńlé kí n ti pé a máa fi agídí mú wọn kán bá wa encourage wọn ẹni tó bá fẹ́ kọ́ṣẹ́ kó kọ́ṣẹ́ ẹni tó bá fẹ́ kàwé kó kàwé.
The government and individual they can do a lot to assist all these particular children that are in this category, and they can render the assistance by even going to the rural areas to identify those children that are vulnerable, either by way of maybe by that are not adequately fed, or maybe they do not have clothes, or that because of money they cannot even go to school. By the time they go to all these rural settings to identify them, then they can be thinking about how to provide lasting solution to it. And I believe that if they can do this, that those vulnerable children at least their life will be better a lot.
Let me put it this way. Look at those little children in the street taking their parents around begging for hands. Why, under normal circumstances, we want our own children to go to school, we take them in air-conditioned car, we drive them to schools, we drop them there, we go back in the afternoon, we pick them back home, and we see those little ones taking their parents around in the street. Do you know that with time, those children you and I have not attached importance to their welfare may eventually turn around to become bandits, armed robbers, members of all these terrorist organizations. And the reason I said I would not agree to, but the fact is this: I think we can feign ignorance if the government will not be on our toe to ensure that children security and protection is for everybody. You see, more often than not, the local government, the state, even the federal government always behave as if they are alpha and omega. We may not need your input. We can do it all alone. That's a lie. I always tell people there are 5 major factors, or do I say actors, responsible for the protection of the children. 5. And the number 1 is the family, which is here. The number 2 is the community. The number 3 is the state. And the number 4 is the international community and the child himself. The child must be made to know that he has everything to do to ensure his protection is assured. And mind you, it is basically because we have overrated the responsibility of the international community, because ordinarily the community, the state, and the international community are supposed to come together to strengthen the family. But instead, we have overrated the responsibility of the international community. Mind you, the state is supposed to have the political will to make laws and framework, legal framework, to ensure this child is well protected. That is the responsibility of the state. I hope you are getting my point. But you see, in the community, we have the mosque, we have the church, we have the schools, and the neighbors. But most of the time, we look the other way. If this child goes wrong way, we look the other way. I am not concerned. And it will definitely fight back on the community. But the state, more often than not, the political will is not usually there. At least if the political will is there, there will be a legal framework ensuring the security and the protection of this child. And this is the most powerful. Ordinarily, it's supposed to join forces with these two, which is the state and the community, to ensure the family is strengthened. But it is not there. So parenting in Nigeria is a shambles. I can say that. We are not doing enough. And you see, the parental influence has gone low, and that has affected a lot of things. And you know, self-indulgence is natural in children. I want to have independence. I want to be on my own. It's natural. But if we are able to all join forces, believe you me sincerely, the future is secured. There is this Ghanaian proverb, and the proverb says, the ruin of a nation begins in the home of his people. Not until the family is taken care of, there is no future for this country. You see, ordinarily, let's look at it this way. Yes, religious body, but you will still agree with me that the major blame is at the doorstep of the government, like you have observed, just because of the way you framed it. If the government should live up to our responsibility to ensure the family is strengthened, to ensure the family is always sensitized, to ensure the community where the family is coming from understand the programs of the government, you will realize that whatever the government is doing will trickle down eventually to that child. So the government has failed. Automatically the community will fail and the parents will fail. And amongst the parents, you have the religious leaders. So if they have failed in their responsibility, even in their religious activities, they are failures. So the fact is, everybody now, all actors, community actors, all stakeholders, we should come to a drawing board and ensure we do the needful so that we reduce to the barest minimum, if we cannot eradicate totally, the numbers of children living in street situations.
Global Support for Kids Initiative is a non-governmental organization.
I am Oyefeso Abiola, the Program Officer at Global Support for Kids Initiative. Global Support for Kids Initiative is a non-profit organization.
GSK Initiative is an organization that serves the well-being of vulnerable children neglect, and also help them to fight for their rights in the society.
At Global Support for Kids Initiative, we listen to children, take their views serious, and promote their interests. We make their safety, welfare, and well-being our utmost consideration. At Global Support for Kids Initiative, we say a big no to all forms of child abuse. Child liberation is our utmost concern.
Yeah, at Global Support for Kids Initiative, we have 3 sets of vulnerable children that we work with. One, the indigent children in our society. The second one are the street-connected children. And the third one are the youth at risk. The indigent children, they are the children in our society, the less privileged children in our society. And the street connected children, these are children who lives and work, do everything they have to do on streets. They live their life on streets. And the youth at risk, they are adults above 18, but they need one or two, or they need an help to restructure their life back to have a better life.
And we've been rendering help to street-connected children in the aspect of their needs.
Street children are the ones who walk on the streets, some live on the streets. Basically, they are called the Osanlis.
Global Support for Kids initiative try to get to know these children better. We take them through some counseling sessions where they tell us more about themselves. During that period, we get to know the reasons why they left home, take the details of their parents, and most of the time we try to do a reintegration where we call both parents and the children and create a parental bond between them back. While some who are unable to go back to their houses, try as much as possible to make sure they are not just useless on the streets. In the sense that those who want to go to school, we try to take them to school, while some, we put them into a vocational training center of their choice.
So far, we have booked more than 50 children, and also some to the vocational training of their choice, and they are doing perfectly well.
We have testimony of children that, okay, due to the situation at home, no money, as in the parents were not capable to take care of them. They have to come to streets to hustle, to fight for themselves. But it's our achievement that those children were able to put them on a vocation training, like they learn skills. We have those children that have become masters in their own places.
My personality is a personality that loves children a lot. Getting the job of a social worker is like a dream come true. I get to meet with street children and understand them better. But the part whereby I get to the field and meet with those children themselves, the children we work with who are the street children, seeing the challenges they are passing through, the genuine smile on their face will always tell me and myself like there is more to these children being out on the streets. Because the way the society look down on them is totally uncalled for. But we, as Global Support Kids Initiative worker, we are here to give them hope. And that's what has been motivating me to do the job.
The major challenges we are facing is the society are not accepting the children. They are not showing them enough love and care.
They fail to know that we are unsung heroes, that the work we are doing, we are helping to build a better society. They fail to realize that we are keeping the society safe, because if we fail to help these children, they become more vulnerable, and to the extent that they become criminals in the society, that even we that we said, okay, we don't have anything to do with these children, especially the street connected children, if we didn't take care of them, like we work with them to curb that criminal heart in them, we realize that even we that we said that we're not involved will be the one facing the consequence, because we will be the one that will be coming to deprive of our peace. Like for instance, a child that is not properly being taken care of, like being properly monitored to restructure his life, his or her life back, and it becomes a criminal, like a thief, definitely it won't rob its fellow street child. Definitely it's coming back to society.
I'd just like to tell parents out there to please show some love to their kids, show some love to their children. No matter what, it's not about money, it's not about material things, but attention. Based on our research on the street with our street children, it has been proven that 90% of children leave home because of lack of parental care and attention. When they don't get the attention they need from their parents, when they don't get the love, the affection from who they call their parents, they tend to find solace out there on the streets.
Though I understand parenting is not an easy task, but we urge all parents outside there to take care of their children, to show them more love, attention, and care. With that, I know we won't lose up a good child. And secondly is the security challenge. Being on the street is not something okay, it's not something friendly.
There are many helps that could be rendered to GSK initiative, just like hygienic products, so as to help the children on the streets, because where they are staying is not a good place for them to live as a child, and many other things, feeding and but most importantly, transit home. We need a transit home for these children, because when they are rescued, they living on the street will not help the situation down for us to bring them to a transit home for a particular period of time.
And finally, the aspect of financial aspects, because no one wants to invest in such a thing. Since it's not that, okay, we are giving award though, since it's not that we are empowering, but they fail to understand that these children, what we are even doing is even more important than empowering, giving people food to eat and the likes. So this has affected our financial aspect, like getting support from people. So that has been our challenges so far from the society.
The advice I have for the society at large is to show love and care to the street-connected children, because if they begin to chase them off, to just leave them on their own way, there will be increase in crime rate in the nearest future.